All right, everybody, welcome back again. This is the next study session that we're going to be doing. It's for GBUS 5, Introduction to Business. This one should be a very quick one. Test number 4 for both of my classes, my social media, my personal finance, and my GBUS 5 seem to be both 25 questions. And fairly memorization with certain aspects of it, right? So the Test 4 study guide for our GBUS 5 class consists of chapters 10, 11, and 12 as well. So again, and if you're just joining me for the first time right now, this study session is for our GBUS 5 Intro to Business. So if you may have tuned into the first one for GBUS 10 and you dropped off, you're coming back for the GBUS 5. I'm just gonna give you a little forewarning. I'm a little under the weather today, so bear with me with my throat. So we'll try to get through. I'm gonna try to go through this fairly quickly. So I apologize if you can't understand everything or if I kind of cut stuff short, just because I'm feeling really bad and want to go to sleep. So I just don't think I would be able to do it on Sunday morning like I wanted to do. I may just need to get some rest and relaxation over the weekend so that we're good for Thanksgiving break. So let's get started with this. Let me put on the good old study guide over here with what you see. Again, test is on Tuesday, distributed through TopHat, laptop, cell phone, whatever it is. And again, you're gonna have an attendance code. So if that attendance code doesn't match you being physically in class, now that I know who each and every one of you are, it will result in a 0 for the actual test. So make sure you're there. Don't try to cheat, because I know. So chapter 10 was all about motivation and morale and management. The end of chapter 10 was all about management. So if we look over here, the very first thing says define morale. Know the difference between morale and motivation. They're two different things, right? Remember, if you motivate something, it leads to either positive or negative morale depending on the motivator. If it's positive motivation, at least positive morale. If it's negative motivation, at least a negative morale. So know the difference between job enrichment, job enlightenment, and job enlargement, right? And maybe one of those you look at and say, oh my gosh, I can't even find it in the book. Well, maybe that's for a reason, right? Maybe that's for a reason. So not all of those things were in our lecture. So I want to make sure that you understand those, that not all of them are in our lecture. And not all of them, there's at least one. There is one, I'll tell you that. Out of the 3, 2 of them are correct. One of them is the completely to throw you off type of answer. So know the difference between job enrichment, job enlightenment, job enlargement. Define flex time in dealing with a way to motivate employees to work for you. Define telecommuting as a way to motivate you. Define a team, right? Define what a team is. We have a big definition on our TopHat slide of what a team is. Define and understand what a virtuoso team is. So the difference between the different types of teams out there. There's a problem solving, there's a self-managed team, there's a virtuoso. Understand what that virtuoso is. Know the 5 steps of team development and what consists of each one. We went over that earlier, late last week. Was it Tuesday? Beginning of class on Tuesday. So define and understand, know the 5 steps of team development. Know the difference between a task specialist and a socio-economic specialist. Socio-emotional. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it. I apologize. Socio-emotional team member. And we did not lecture about this, so I want you to go back and review that. Because it is important. I just skipped it. I apologize. So that's that. Chapter 11 was all about marketing, and we introduced the marketing aspect of the class. And so define what marketing is. Using information about customers to create marketing strategies that develop and sustain desirable long-term customer relationships is known as what, right? And we talked about it. And think about Salesforce, right? Salesforce is a way that you were able to do this. Know the 4 types of utilities. So go look back at those slides when we discussed the USC game and how what StubHub utility provides, what what the food vendors there provide, what the hot dog vendors right after you leave provide. And we gave other examples in class, Starbucks having a Starbucks on every corner, Amazon being open 24/7, right? We even did a TopHat question on it, right? So go back in your TopHat review session and go look back at those questions that we did in class. So that's that as well. Define and understand the steps of the marketing concept. So we laid out some steps to the marketing concept, so know those steps. Which 2 ways are markets classified as? Again, that was a TopHat question on Thursday, so go back and look at that TopHat question. We answered that in class. Define a marketing strategy. So again, straight definition, we have a TopHat slide on that as well. Understand the elements of the marketing mix. So remember the 4 P's of marketing and what they mean. And define the 2 different categories of buying behavior, right? 2 different categories of buying behavior. Kind of relate to the ways that markets are classified, but understand the 2 different categories of the buying behavior. It's that very last slide in chapter 11 on our TopHat. And then chapter 12, the last one for chapter 12. Again, I said this test is pretty simple. This test is probably the quickest and easiest one you'll have all semester, just because the material's a little bit easier to understand. So chapter 12 says define the product life cycle. Go through and understand what that product life cycle is. We talked about it. We went through each stage. Name the stages of the product life cycle and understand which stage has what stuff. So during the growth phase, what is happening, during the introduction phase, during maturity, what's happening with a product, and how it relates to the profit, right? We have that profit line on there, we have the revenue line on there, and we talked about in class how they relate to each other. So go back and look at that. Define what a brand is. I showed you my son's YouTube video about how branding is so powerful. Define packaging and understanding why a package is important, and we talked about that using the Gerber as an example, the baby food as an example. And then the amount of producer ads and cost-based pricing is called what? We actually did that as a TopHat slide, so that's one of the answers on your TopHat question, so go back, look at that. And then define what a discount is, right? Define what a discount is in there. And we didn't talk about that in class, but it is important because I think you guys all know what a discount is. But go back, look at the definition of a discount. And so I know this was fairly quick, fairly simple, but I think you all do well on this. And I know I only have one person watching right now, but if you have a question, chat it in for me. Otherwise, I'm going to be signing off in about 20 seconds, not 20 minutes, 20 seconds. All right, so if there's no other questions, I'm going to kind of leave this video at 8 minutes. I will see you all on Tuesday when our test is. Come at 8:50 sharp so you have all the time to do it. And then we don't have class on Thursday because of Thanksgiving. So I will see you then. And I will announce, one last announcement. Thank you for those that came out to the Aim for Success. I know some of you out there in my class came out there, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Also, the drop deadline is this Sunday. Make sure you, if you're not passing this class or if you don't want to stay in it, drop deadline is this Sunday. So good luck with that. I know somebody just tuned in. I apologize, but I'm actually signing off. I've already completed the study session, so it'll be posted in just 1 minute. So with that, have a great night, and I will see you all on Tuesday for the test. All right, have a good one.